The rapid advance of the Ukrainian army in the Kursk region has stopped talk in the West about a ceasefire and negotiations. Instead, Western capitals are now discussing new arms supplies to Ukraine and permission to use them. The Telegraph writes about this. The publication notes that the successful advance of the Ukrainian armed forces across Russian territory has forced the Kremlin to redeploy thousands of soldiers from the occupied regions of Ukraine to the Kursk region. This is disrupting Russian dictator Vladimir Putin's plans to continue pressure on the front in Ukraine and achieve a turning point in the war. From now on, this will be more difficult to achieve, the analyst states. The article also states that due to the Ukrainian armed forces' operation in the Kursk region, Moscow will no longer be able to insist on freezing the war along the current front line, since in that case part of the Russian Federation's territory will remain under Kiev's control. The Telegraph says that the window of time allotted to the Kremlin for victory this year has closed, and the situation is beginning to change in Kiev's favor. Zelensky now has wind in his sails, finally supported by his Western colleagues, the author emphasizes. Superb Ukrainian intelligence and US-provided weaponry are being credited for enabling the rapid advance of Ukrainian forces into Russian territory over the past week. Some analysts believe they could move even faster if Washington allowed them to use the most sophisticated weapons at their disposal. Vladislav Zeleznyov, a former spokesman for the Ukrainian Armed Forces General Staff, told VOA's Russian service that Ukrainian intelligence and the US-provided high-mobility artillery rocket systems known as HIMARS had been critical to the stunning advance. Ukrainian intelligence worked perfectly, he said. Therefore, some of the enemy columns rushing to the aid of the Russian army in the Kursk region were destroyed thanks to artillery and drones, perhaps aviation. And of course, the real scourge of the Russian army is the HIMARS, which turn into ashes a huge amount of weapons, equipment and personnel of the Russian army, he said. In a striking discussion, experts in a Russian TV studio deliberated over the potential abandonment of border regions by Russia, highlighting the possibility of a sustained Ukrainian military presence. Russian propaganda appears to be gradually preparing the public for potential territorial losses. This notion is being openly discussed by various speakers on Russian television. The topic prominently featured in the program Mesto v Strechi, hosted by Andrei Norkin. During the discussion, speakers suggested that Russia might not only lose the Kursk region but also other border areas. They emphasized the necessity of remaining calm, adopting a cynical outlook despite the difficulty, and focusing less on emotions. They urged viewers to look at the map, particularly a map of the vast Russian territory, and compare it with these potentially lost regions, suggesting the need to evacuate the entire border area, including elderly residents. Preparing for the worst-case scenario, the speakers mentioned that Ukraine might establish a stronghold in these areas, warranting what they described as a necessary sacrifice. One expert elaborated that while the expansion of the front might be strategically favorable for Russia, it poses significant image issues. Despite the grim predictions, Russia is reallocating forces to bolster the Kursk direction, although the front line is seeing conscripts from other regions instead of professional soldiers. Since August the 6th, the Ukrainian armed forces have launched a special operation in the Kursk region of Russia. During this time, Ukraine has taken control of 82 settlements in the Kursk region, covering an area of 1,150 square kilometers. A military commandment's office has also been established there, led by Major General Eduard Moskalyov. Earlier reports indicated that the Ukrainian armed forces had completely cleared the city of Sudza of Russian troops. Recently, the Russians claimed that Ukrainian forces had allegedly destroyed a bridge over the same river near the village of Glushkovo in the Kursk region, which is a crucial logistical artery in the area.